Welcome back to the CANDYcolored studio. I'm artist Katrina Berg, and this is episode 226. Boy, do I have such an exciting episode for you today. I have 9 of my very dearest artist friends with me today. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Aw. So good to have you guys. So we are getting together, the 10 of us today, to share with you about the Art and Soup fundraiser art show happening at the Salt Palace next week. And we want to tell you all about it because we have some just amazing artists and amazing local businesses that will be supporting the CNS nursing program. Anyways, we're so happy to have each of you. I'm just going to rattle off who we have here, everyone's names, and then we're going to give you a chance to hear from each of them, and they'll share with you some of what they've been working on and something unique that they want you to know about their work. So today we have Barb Young, we have Brandt Berntson, we have Heather Holm and Greg Newbold. We have brekke Sjoblom, Jenn Seeley, Rebecca Klundt, Rob Chipman, and Nancy andruk Olson. So we're so happy to have each of you here. And I thought it would be really special to have Nancy start because she's not only an artist, but she also has been working with CNS for many years as a nurse. So she can tell us a little bit more about why we're all together today. So Nancy, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, it's true. I've been a nurse at CNS for, I think, about 8 years now. And so I work in hospice. And so I visit people in their homes who are dying. CNS, you know, if you might know this, is the oldest home health agency in Utah. It's actually almost 100 years old. And did you know that about CNS?
No, I didn't know it was almost 100 years old. That's amazing.
Yeah, so CNS is really an amazing company because they really work to provide charitable care to their patients. So we do get a lot of referrals for patients who are indigent and they don't have any way to pay for their nursing visits in home. And so I did have one story of a patient that received charitable care that I worked with. Would you like me to tell that?
Sure. Absolutely.
So I had a patient and she was an illegal immigrant. And because of that, she didn't have any health care. She had not had any preventative care. And, she didn't have any routine care. And so because of that, she was dying of cervical cancer, which of course is completely preventable if you have routine care. She was only 37. She had 3 children. They lived in a trailer with 3 other families. So each family had a room in their trailer. And so she didn't, make it into the healthcare system until obviously her symptoms were so bad and that it was too late. So she was referred to hospice to pass away at home. And it was extremely difficult because she had these, 3 children and her family was taking care of her. And I guess the reason why I remember this story the most is because they really could not figure out a way how to tell their children that their mother was going to pass away. And so they asked me to do it. And so that's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done as a nurse was to sit down with these kids and tell them, well, when she was admitted, she had a 2-week prognosis. So I had to tell them, that she wasn't going to be around for very much longer. And I sat there and basically cried with them for an hour. They were about like 13, 11, and 9. It was like just a ball fest with them. So she ended up only living 1 week. And I was actually the nurse when she passed away as well. And so I was with them when she passed away. And when I got there, the families had prepared her and laid her in the front room and, dressed her. And there was a line out the door of people coming to say goodbye to her. And as they really, the whole time I was there was people waiting in line, taking their turn, kneeling at her bedside and saying goodbye to her. So she is a patient who got nursing visits, medications, and other things from this program that she would not have otherwise, because CNS uses this money to provide those things in the interim, you know, because she had no health insurance. She did. I think, you know, she might qualify under some Medicaid, or I'm not really sure, but you know, that's a process, and she didn't have that time. And so the charitable care program is what fills those needs for that. And 100% of the tickets and the sales from the artist, the percentage of the sales from the artist go to help people like that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What a start. And you know what, Nancy, thank you for sharing that, because you know what, I think that as artists, we hope that our work is uplifting people. I think I speak for all of us here. With the work that we do, we hope that it helps others just have a better outlook on life, just have a better moment, because we know life is hard. And this is also an amazing program because it does help people from a different perspective. It helps people during the hardest moments. I mean, goodness, and this is not the first, obviously this is your job. Your job is to help people to the other side, right? You're to help them, to comfort them, and to comfort their loved ones. And thank you for everything that you do. We appreciate it. And this is, we're very happy.
Is so sad. I mean, I remember it because it's because of that, you know, but the good side is that we have something like Art and Soup that can help those people that wouldn't get it any other way.
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much. Well, let's talk a little bit about your art, Nancy. Why don't you tell everyone where you create your art and a little bit about what you've been doing with your art lately?
Oh, well, I'm in my studio now. I have a home studio, and I've been painting. I paint a lot every day. I mostly been working on watercolors lately. I do a lot of landscapes. And I make my own paint. And that's been a real, like, big part of my process lately, is making my own paint and like figuring out, I've kind of recently figured out like how to get different textures with watercolor and different amounts of opacity. And so that's been interesting for me.
Totally. And if you're not familiar with Nancy's work, you need to go check it out, because her watercolors are not typical watercolors. They're very vibrant. When she says they're high chroma, she's not embellishing that in any way. So, and Nancy, I have to ask you, will you be bringing some of your paints that you've been making to Art and Soup?
Yes. So actually, I do have a paint set in the auction, in the silent auction.
Oh,
so
nice.
You could go on there. And I will be having a paint. I could show it to you, but will be having a tray there where you can pick your own colors and make a custom set of your own watercolors. So,
wow, that's awesome. So if you get a chance, you'll have to go on Nancy's Instagram. She's got videos where she actually shows you how she makes her paint. And she's very careful. She's got her like mask. And it's not a typical mask. What kind of mask is that, Nance?
Well, that's a good question, but it's a mask that that's a good question. I could show it to you, but it just doesn't let any particles in.
Yeah.
It's like a ventilator mask.
Yeah, it's like your own ventilator mask. Well, yeah. So I definitely encourage you to go check that out. Make sure that you look for Nancy's silent auction item. She'll be bringing paints. And then do you want to show some of your art that you're going to be bringing? Tell us about the art that you're going to be doing for Art and Soup.
I have this piece that I wanted to show, which is a floral piece that I did recently that shows my paint really well because it's bright and colorful.
Yeah.
And I have this one as well to show you. That are
I love
in
that.
these white shadow box frames. I'll show you the paint set too. This is like an example of the paint set that's in the auction. So it looks like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's probably what, like, how many colors did you say? 40?
This one
Are
has
there
28.
28.
Mm-hmm.
That is really nice, Nance.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then I will have some where you can pick your own and you can, put the ones that you want in. So
Cool.
if you want
That's
specific
awesome.
colors, yeah.
Well, Nancy, we're so excited to have you. And this is full circle for you.
Yeah.
Getting to participate in Art and Soup and to celebrate all parts of your life.
Yes.
With our community.
Yes, you're right. This is kind of where all my interests intersect, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Nursing and art.
And where would you like people to go to see more about you? Your Instagram, your website?
My website is great, which is my name, nancyandrukolson.com. So,
awesome. Definitely go check out her website. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nancy. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Greg is next, and Greg Newbold and I tell you, Greg made my very first Art and Soup extra special because we were neighbors and I was so nervous and I didn't know what to expect. And for artists, this is kind of a marathon of art shows. That's how my dear friend Crystal Harper used to describe it. She said, this is a marathon. Be prepared for a marathon. And having Greg and getting to know he and his wife next door, like, made the biggest difference for me. And we had such a good time.
No, that was so fun. I can't remember if that was my first year or if that was the second year, but yeah, I think it was the first year. And it just made it so much easier for me too. So
well, we had such a good time together.
It was
awesome.
Really
yeah, and a little bit more, if you're not familiar with Greg, he and his wife, not only is he an artist, but they do books together, children's books. Like, he illustrates them, she writes them. They go present stuff in schools and read to the kids. Do you want to tell us anything about that, Greg?
So I should grab one if I've got one laying around.
Sorry, I should have told you to have one ready. I have some upstairs I could go get.
let me see if I've got one right here.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the one that we have that I've read to my kids, I have a snowman one. I have a Van Gogh. I think those are the ones that we have. But they do a lot of outreach with our local community. They'll go together, he and his wife, and they'll read to the kids. And of course, all the illustrations are all of Greg's artwork, and they're just amazing.
The first one was if Picasso painted a snowman.
Yes.
And then we have if Da Vinci painted a dinosaur.
Yes.
And then Monet painted a monster. So the basic premise is what would painting look like if it was painted in the style of these famous artists? And so we got the snowman book, the dinosaur book, and the monster book, and there's 15 to 18 different famous art styles that I had to mimic, which was really, really fun. And so yeah, we go around to schools and talk to them about creativity and show the work and how the work is done. And there's fun stuff in here like snowman gothic. And
I love that one.
All these different styles. So that's a lot of fun. We do that as much as we can. And so that's part of my illustration work. But I also do gallery work, represented by 3 awesome galleries. David Erickson Fine Art here in Salt Lake, and then I have Medicine Man Gallery in Tucson and Manitou Galleries in Santa Fe. They carry my landscape and Western landscape paintings, and also my toy paintings here in Salt Lake. So.
Oh, well, I love them all. And Breck, did you want to say something about Greg's books? No? Okay, I thought she raised her hand. Yeah, well, they're awesome. And it's been so fun for me to share those with my kids and say, this is my artist friend. Isn't it fun when, like we got to see how Nancy's other world connects with her art, but I love how you and your wife get to do that together.
Yeah,
it's so special.
That's super fun to work with her on those 3 books that she wrote. It was all her idea. She had to do a little arm twisting to convince me that I could paint in, 40 different famous artist styles. but we pulled it off, and it's pretty fun. So
It's so great. I love it. That's awesome. Well, is there anything else specifically you want to tell us about your art so that
just
people get to know it?
I mean, I like my art to connect with people, and I like to share beauty and fun with the world. So I hope, people also connect with what I do. Behind me, that's one of the new paintings I'm going to have. Both of those are going to be at the show, at the Art and Soup show. And I've been working hard. I'll just flip through a few of the landscape paintings that I've been working on. Some of these were done on location and then finished in the studio. Some of them are based on trips that there's Zion National Park. Some of my farm paintings and Capitol Reef, and there's Devil's Gate in Wyoming with a piece of big sagebrush that I like to paint. So those are super fun. Those are kind of typical of the landscapes that I do. And then these ones are the goofy ones that I just started just because they were so much fun and I needed a break from everything and do something that just didn't matter. So I started painting these toy paintings. This one's even got a little gold leaf on there. You can see that. So this is one I just finished this week. So if you might recognize the I love you. I know. Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, Greg, they're wonderful.
Nobody laughed. Yeah.
They're so fun. I love it because it's an escape, like you're saying, but it's also
Western nod to the old vintage Westerns.
Yeah.
And, every once in a while you got to paint Santa Claus on his post-Christmas vacation. No ho ho. So these will all be at the show, and I got my work cut out to get them all framed and ready to hang, and I think I'll have about 25 paintings, and most of them will be new.
Wow.
So never before shown. So it'll be fun.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. And I think you've got just this perfect balance of, oh, sorry. Can everyone else hear me? Yeah. Okay. So I think what's so fun is that you've got this wonderful landscape. You're very talented with the landscapes, but then you also have
I got my mic back. Sorry.
You're fine.
For a second.
I love almost like the nostalgia and the whimsy just coming in, contrasting with the landscapes. And they're all oil, right? They're all oil.
So a lot of the toy paintings are acrylic.
Fun.
And sometimes I'll finish them all the way in acrylic. And then some of them I finish with oil on top. So it kind of depends on how the painting's going and the kind of effect that I want to get.
Yeah.
But the landscape paintings are pretty much all oil.
Okay. Oh, that's so fun. Well, Greg, we're so excited that's amazing. 25, almost all completely new paintings. Well done. And we are sending you lots of good vibes with your framing. They're going to be fabulous.
I've got all the frames. It's just, getting them all installed and wired and ready to go. And so it'll be fun.
That's awesome. Well, Greg, where would you like people to come see your work? On your website, your Instagram?
So, the place where I show the most current work is probably on my Instagram, which also feeds over to my Facebook, and that's just Greg Newbold Art. And then my website, where there's a little store where you can buy a few little things when I put them up for sale, is gregnewbold.com. So easy to remember.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Greg. We're so happy to see you and to have you and to see more of your work. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. I think it's going to be a fun event, and I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Bye.
Okay, so next we get to share with Rob Chipman, who I believe is the featured artist this year. Am I right?
You are right.
Oh my gosh, Rob, that is exciting.
It's quite overwhelming. So for me to do that.
Well, we're all very excited for you to do it. That's going to be amazing. So Rob gets
as an art and soup newbie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, congratulations. Well done. So we've got some exciting variety for everyone here because we talked about watercolor, we talked about oils and even acrylic. And now Rob's got something totally different to share. So why don't you go ahead and tell us where you're creating from and tell us a little bit about your work.
Totally different and strange. There are certainly easier ways to create art. So I'm in my home studio now, and this is where I typically will design what I'm going to do. It's where I do my carving of the blocks. I do reduction block prints, either wood cuts or lino cuts using artist's linoleum. And I tend to do mostly lino cuts because I just prefer the properties. I can get a little better detail. I like the smoother surfaces, not having to deal with the wood grain of the wood. And so when I say carve, that's what I do. I used to use mounted linoleum, but I do so much volume that I now buy it in rolls, just the linoleum itself, and cut it to the size and shape that I want. I think I buy them in 4 foot by, or maybe 3 by 6 foot rolls, and have one sitting to the side of me right there.
Wow.
And so I do my carving here. I've got tools like these gouges, different shapes and sizes to create different kind of effect. And then I am a member of a co-op studio called Saltgrass Printmakers in downtown Salt Lake City, where I do my printing. And I've got access to great hand crank presses there, and drying racks and inks and paper. And I used to print at home and hand burnish the prints, and that required a little more energy than I wanted to exert. So it's a little easier to use a press. So my routine is generally I'll go in the morning down to Saltgrass and print. And I usually have to wait a day to let it dry before I can put another layer on. And the reduction method allows you to do multiple color layers, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think the most I've done is 21 layer on top of each other, and carving away the block between each layer, so you're preserving those colors you just printed. Once it's carved away, nothing will be printed over it. You can do the same thing with multiple blocks, a block for each layer, and that's a little more forgiving. If you mess up on one, you can just recreate that one block. You're kind of working without a net with the reduction method, because if you carve away something, you pretty much have to start over, which I've done before. And so that's kind of the routine. Then I'll come home and carve for the next day's work. So I've got a couple of my more recent work. This is a capital reef in the spring that I'll be showing for the first time down there. This is a little more subtle than I usually do. A barn up in Ballad, Idaho. Experimented with a lot. I usually do light to dark in terms of my layer and color progression. I did a lot of light over dark here, and that actually helped create a lot of the texture and the subtle colors on that.
Beautiful.
Here's a Albion Basin. Nice to have a reminder of what summer might look like under 800, 700 inches of snow. You might find this is interesting. This is actually the final stage of the block. You probably can't see much detail on that, but that was the final stage of the block for Albion a bloom. There's very little printable area left, so it's by default a limited edition, because I couldn't print any more if I wanted to.
Dang. Are you going to bring any of those with you to Art and Soup? Do you bring those to the shows, Rob?
Which the block?
The final block. Yeah. Do you ever bring those?
I'll have a few there, and I'm usually working on one so people can see it. I'm always jealous of you guys that just can describe yourself as an oil painter, because the minute I say, well, I do reduction block prints, it goes over their head and then requires a 15-minute education for most people as to what it is and how I do it, and why it takes a twisted mind and a glutton for punishment.
I think, though, if we don't educate ourselves and others about it, we can't see the value, right? And so it is an important part. I believe it's important for all artists, but you're right. For you particularly, Rob, you definitely have to educate people. Well, they're beautiful, and it's so fun to hear a little bit more about how you're doing it. Yeah, is there anything else that you want to share with us about, just...
Well, thank you so much for inviting me and for putting this on. I'm all about creating opportunities for artists to show and sell their work. I'm also president of the Intermountain Society of Artists, and that's my personal mission, but also one of the primary missions of that organization. So you do a lot to promote artists, and I appreciate that. Art and Soup is a great venue and event to promote artists as well as support a great cause. And I just love being in company with other great artists, and hope there's a great turnout that come and see great artists at work and see their work and buy it.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited, and thanks so much for being here, Rob. Keep an eye out for Rob, because he's the featured artist. He's going to be doing some other fun interviews. Remind me which station you're going to today.
It's Channel 4, their Daily Dish, which is just kind of a brief segment promoting this. And then next Tuesday is Good Things Utah, also on Channel 4.
That's awesome.
I think 9 or 10. I think 10 maybe.
Well, great. And Rob, where would you like people to go to learn more about you?
Either my website or Insta. Both are Rob Chipman Art.
Perfect. Well, Rob, thank you so much. Good luck today.
Thank you.
We're excited to have you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'd like to next welcome Barb Young. And Barb, so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, this is exciting. I feel like, Greg kind of started us off with showing, how he's been doing different things. And you too have been doing different things lately. I mean, you get to share with us a couple different styles, one that we may know a little bit more, but one that's kind of a new project that's bringing you a lot of joy.
Yes, that's true. So yes, I create here in my home studio. It has new paint and it's all organized, which is kind of a wonderful thing for us artists. But this last year was an interesting year for me. It was a year with aging parents and a lot of things that were going on in my life. And I found myself in the late fall really contemplating, a lot of things. And one evening I was sitting down and I had these thoughts come to my mind in regards to my art and really what I need to do for myself inside. And this little theme came to my mind, and it was Gallery of Verbs, VERBS, Garden of Healing. And many of you know that I'm a gardener and I love to be outside, and I have a big garden and I get a lot of joy there. And so with that, I thought, what could I do in this coming year in 2023 in regards to just a word, a verb. And so when that came to me, I just sat down and I started writing down all of these verbs, and I'm going to share a few of them with you, like walk, run, build, accept, awake, become, believe, commit, remember, perceive, and the list can go on and on. But this was really a space where I felt like my soul could sort of connect. I needed that. And So I'm actually going to just show you. This was that piece when Katrina said that I'm doing some new work. I went to Blick and I bought every supply that I wanted to try. And so I have been having so much fun playing with texture paints, using a brayer. I've never painted with a brayer. Palette knife. Typically, you can see this painting in the back right here, whichever way it goes right here. This has been my work that I've been doing for quite a few years, Katrina. I've been painting about 25 years, and I'm kind of in and out of the art scene depending on what my life is like. But lately, I feel like I'm a little more present, and I desire that, and I want to be working on the skills and the talents that I have. But this new work has been a lot of fun, and I'm going to show you a couple pieces. So this is one with a lot of texture in it, and I'm going to just flip through a few of these really, really fast so you can see. I don't know where a lot of these are going yet. They're not quite done, but landscape is a whole new thing, and so this has been giving me an opportunity to play around with landscape using texture, and you can kind of see that mountain back behind there. And also playing around with glazing and things that I typically don't use in the art that I've been working on. There's some gold leafing there. I don't know, you can see this one has a lot of glazing and layering on it. And then here's a couple more little pieces, and so I'm hoping that those, I can put the final touches on those. And I have, this is another piece that's very similar to the pink one. But in my process of working with art, I think a lot, and I think we all kind of do that, Katrina. Where are we when we're doing our art? Where does our mind go? Where do we go? And I started finding myself using a lot of green. And so I said, okay, I'm going to look up what does the symbolism of green mean. So I'm going to just read this really quick. It says green symbolizes in the Bible, it means immortality, resurrection, growth, prosperity, and restoration. The color green in the Bible is also associated with fertility. It is the color that connects us to Mother Nature. And so I love that I have this desire to kind of dive a little bit deeper into symbolism, colors. I paint a lot of birds and I paint a lot of flowers, and I think there can be a lot of symbolism just in those two things. So anyway, yeah.
Oh,
I
Barb,
wanted to show
I'm
you
so
something.
excited.
So I think I can do this. I don't know if that'll work. Probably not. So this painting right here, can you guys see this over here? That big painting?
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so this painting, I've never done anything like this before, and I don't know if you can quite see that it's not done. I'm hoping to get it done, but I don't know if you can kind of see the illumination in some of these places that almost look like a candle or light. Anyway,
Totally.
So I'm really excited about that because this painting is taking shape, and I'm really beginning to have, it's really beginning to have soul, is like an illumination of our own light within ourselves. And so in painting this, that's really what I want to kind of, I hope that it comes together, but I want to portray our inner light as it's painted around each kind of little section, and then on the outside there are kind of like these flickers of flames, and you might not be able to see that, but it's all been fun, and I'm really excited to be a part of Art and Soup, Katrina, and with all of you, and appreciate this opportunity so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Barb. What a beautiful, beautiful journey that you've been on. I can't wait to see where you go. I have loved seeing your initial series that that's how I fell in love with you, and just really you and your work. And I mean, it's amazing. And so you will have both series at Art and Soup,
Yes,
right?
yes. There will be just all of my regular art that I've enjoyed so much. It's more of a graphic style. And then this, and my hope is that you can see Barb Young in both styles, and I think you will because of the shape, the colors, and those types of things. So,
Well, I think it's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And what's the best place that you would like people to come to get to know you more?
I think just on Instagram, Barbara N. Young would be the best place.
Okay, awesome. We'll put all these in the show notes. It's going to be great. Well, Barb, thank you so much. And
thank you, Katrina.
You're just such a jewel. That's so great. Okay, Brandt, we're so happy to have you up next. And yeah, Brandt, I feel like we've been friends forever. I feel like the few shows we've got to do together, it's never enough time to just get to hang out. And so Brandt is probably coming from us maybe the furthest. Wouldn't you bet you're the furthest
I don't know.
away?
I'm in Logan. I know that always feels so far for the Salt Lake folk. Like all of my friends in Salt Lake, oh my gosh, you drive all the way from there. And like I've been doing it my whole life, so I don't know. It doesn't feel that far, but
it doesn't bother you.
Yeah. I like the
it's a beautiful
quiet
place.
Cache Valley. Well, it's not as quiet as it used to be, but you know. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I love your work, and I always wish we could get together more as artists. It's fun these events are great for that. It's always an opportunity to meet people whose work you admire and make new friends. We have such an amazing art community in Utah. It's really great to be part of. But
absolutely. Well, ditto. And I love your work. I'm a big fan. I love that you do live in Cache Valley, because I think a lot of your work really speaks to that peaceful, just the beauty of where you live.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, when I paint, plein air paintings is one of the things I enjoy doing. And I've painted a lot of, let's see, like there's a little farm scene up. This is on the Idaho border. And then I don't know. I'm one of those artists who has too many interests. And I think like when I watched Greg doing those books and he gets to paint like all these artists, I'm one of those people who constantly is going, oh, that'd be fun. Let's try that. And so over the years, I've started a lot of different series, but yeah, I'm going to bring a few landscape pieces, plein air paintings, and then I'm also a lot of people I think know my work from the vehicle pieces that I do. So this is a new one I did for the show.
So awesome.
This one I am having a lot of fun with. I love painting these old vintage, trailers and things like that, and having a little bit of fun. I got to go, buy a donut and have an excuse to eat a donut, but also have a fun model to add into my painting. And then I've been the last couple of years, last year I think at Art and Soup was when I started introducing this sign series that I've been doing. And it's been fun to explore that. It's been well received, which is great. Sometimes you have ideas and you just think, I don't know, is this are other people gonna be excited about it? And so I'm having fun making signs up. Essentially, I'm trying to I go out and I photograph old signs and then change and create something new out of them. So I pull pieces and references from a bunch of things and throw them together into a new painting. So anyway, that's been a lot of fun. But
the signs are spectacular.
Those are all pieces
Brandt.
that are. What was that?
They're spectacular. I love the signs. They are so fun. And I love all the little tweaks and changes, and you're clearly speaking to us, when you with all the little changes that you're doing, it's very obvious and very fun.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah. I'm excited to be back at Art and Soup, and I'm sad that you won't be there with us. And but anyway,
well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's going to be great. And yeah, so you're basically bringing the 3 series. You've got your landscapes, your vintage, the trailers and the cars, and the signs. That's going to be your main
I'll
stuff.
have a little bit of all of
That's
all
awesome.
of that there. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Oh, well, wonderful. And I love that you like to try lots of different things.
Oh,
I think that's
good.
fun.
I hope that it's hard sometimes to work, like galleries usually want just kind of one thing, and so I end up doing a lot of stuff that's only heading to there, and these shows where you get to just, I don't know, you can step out and do something a little different are always kind of exciting. It's you can showcase different things and hopefully connect with people that are interested in different ideas. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brandt, and it's so great to have you on here.
Thanks
so good
much.
to see
you.
Good
to see you too. Good to see all of you.
Okay, next up we have Heather Holm, and I'm so happy to have Heather with us. So,
thanks so much for having me, Karina. I'm happy to be on here on this lovely snowy day. I don't know if it's snowing.
Yes. So can everyone hear Heather? Is it a little crackly, or can we hear her? Is it just me?
It's a little crackly.
Just a little crackly.
Okay, so maybe this is horrible, Heather. Maybe come just a little bit closer. I don't know.
Is this better?
Let's see.
Much better.
Yes.
Is that better?
Well,
okay. I think maybe I was not talking very loudly.
it's all good. It's all good. We're so happy to have you, and your work just makes me so happy, Heather. It brings back memories of moments and movies sometimes, and sometimes it's just these peaceful, just serene, spots that we need to remember, and it's just lovely. So,
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So right now I'm in my makeshift studio. It's a kitchen living room combo, and it's my current studio is under construction, and I've been painting in my laundry room, which is really not worth showing, but I hope to have something legit really soon. And just a little about me and my background. I grew up in San Juan County in Monticello, down by the Four Corners, where there's no shortage of inspiration, and I have always been into painting and drawing since I was a little kid. And I didn't receive any formal training, like not in high school until I got into college, but I took a few drawing classes at Snow College and later went on to receive a degree at the University of Utah in painting and drawing. And around that same time, I started a family, got married, and just stopped painting for about 11 years. And so after kind of the haze of being a first-time mom and grappling with that, I found my way back to doing what I love. And it was really hard at first because I hadn't done it for so long. And I just kind of started out small and found my way back to what I love. And it was really hard to kind of break back into that. But I just did a little thing at a few things at a time. And I started off by entering a few shows. I started by entering the Springfield Museum of Art, one of their shows, and was happy that my painting was received into that. And then from there, I did a few group shows, and after I was invited to do a solo show at Sundance Resort. So now I'm doing Art and Soup, which I'm really excited about. And if it's okay, I'll show you a few pieces right now that I'm working on. And I do like to do, so this is one that I'm working on. It's my Jane Austen series that I've been doing for a while now. And this one is based on, what was it? Oh, sorry, Abbey. Which one is that? Northanger Abbey. So I like to do, my pieces are a lot of like nostalgia and movies that I love and just capturing kind of the feeling of that. And also, I like to do a lot of pieces from down where I live, down by Monticello, and this is in between Monticello and Blanding. So it's kind of down by the Bears, and people always think it's like deserty and red rocks and stuff. But this is actually a high desert, kind of mountainous area. So there's that one. And then I also do still life. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, so fun.
And then I have just one more that I wanted to show you. This one is a Utah Lake. I've been doing some Utah Lake series. I live in Springville, so we live really close to the lake. It's just right across the freeway, and I just really love it out there. And it's not like a super well-known spot, but I think it's gorgeous out there. And so I've been doing a lot of paintings about that. And my brush strokes, I try to keep, I'm a contemporary painter. I like to keep them modern and fresh. And you can see, like in this one, I like to break it down into abstract shapes and then work my way from there, from abstract shapes, and hone in the details from doing that.
Oh, they're so great, Heather. So great. So good that you're going to be at Art and Soup. I mean, goodness gracious.
I'm so excited to go. And it reminds me of, I don't know if anyone watches Call the Midwife, but they care for their patients so well in that show. And it just reminds me of CNS. And I'm just like, oh, it just.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's the best connection. I haven't watched that show for a while, but I love that show. And isn't that fun to think about? Yeah. Just one more way to support our community and to help those that we love. I know that I personally have met people at Art and Soup that said that they had family members who were cared for because of the program. And I think that that is just really, really special. So definitely. Oh, thank you, Heather. Thank you for sharing all those things. And we wish you the best with your studio. Help us out. Is it more like a renovation, or are you adding on? Like, what people need to know, that artists don't stop creating because they don't have a spot. They go to the laundry room, they go to the kitchen, they do what they have to do to make things.
And it's been that way I mentioned I started after 11 years, but it's been that way for 7 years. I've been working in this tiny little laundry room, and it's usually okay. Like, I usually do the small ones in there. If I have to do big ones, I come out to this big room back here because the lighting is so great. And so I'll do my big ones out here, but it's been that way for a long time. But now we're starting a studio for me finally. And so hopefully it's going to be a few months, and I'll just keep painting out here or in the laundry room and just wherever I can do it.
Oh, that's so awesome. I can't wait to see it. And thank you for, like you say, 11 years. You just got to keep painting. It doesn't matter where you're at. Thank you for doing that, because it just really, it lifts our spirits, and just love your work. So thank you so much, Heather.
You so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And where should we have people go that want to get to know you a little bit more?
On Instagram at Heather Holm Art, or you can check out just my website, heatherholmart.com. And anything that I have for sale will be on my website. And I usually will, if I have anything for sale, I will put it on Instagram, or you can check the website. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Heather. It's great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Next we have Brekke. And Brekke, I'm so happy to have you. Brekke and I became friends online, and now she's doing all these favorite shows of mine. Her work is absolutely wonderful. Another great just variety to add to the show. So Brekke, welcome.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell us,
It's good to see you again. You started me off with some help joining this community and getting my artwork out there. So I'm glad to be here.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think sometimes we just need to reach out. Like Rob talked about how he's the president of his organization, and, many of us just met at shows, and yet we had a special connection during COVID, we got to get to know other artists. You know, when we weren't having shows, there were several of us that were meeting online and learning together. Barb was in that group. Jenn was in that group. And I feel like just watching you take off, Breck, like everything we talked about, there were always artists that just seized the day and said, yes, that's exactly what I need to do. And it's just been really, really fun to watch just your whole journey. And it's been amazing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your art? Because your art is very unique and you use, you know, mostly watercolors. Yes,
It is. So I have done just about every medium out there over the years, usually kind of kitchen table creating. I've done quilting. I make great Halloween costumes for my kids every year. But watercolors seem to fit into the stay-at-home mom life that I have. I can put it down. I can put the paintbrush down, let things dry, and come back to it. I don't have to worry about anything or scraping it back. So it's been a good fit for me because I do want to create just about daily.
oh, it's so great. So great.
Most of my stuff is kind of Utah inspired. This is up by up Big Cottonwood Canyon, I believe. Kind of graphic, modern landscapes. But recently I was inspired by photographs that I have. I was trained at the University of Utah in photography to support my painting. And so I've gone back and pulled up photographs to paint from. So this is Hawaii.
So pretty.
But then I paint at home, so I use reference photos. So I've dug through all my paintings and I've started an oceanside series, pulling up every picture I can think of that has water in it, because the mountains are inspiring, but I feel like the ocean has its own pull for a lot of people. And so a lot of these are my memories, but they might overlap with other people's memories.
Absolutely. And isn't it amazing? I feel like we're having a winter of winters.
Oh, yes.
I've got friends that call it what do they call it? The winter apocalypse. I don't know. They have all these funny things and maybe I'm getting more snow than most of you. However, I feel like a lot of us are really excited for the things that you're painting right now. These are the things that everyone is pining for. So the ocean and warm places.
Sunshine,
You
yes.
might have people running to your booth just because of that, because they're just ready to, to be warm this year. So,
I think we are all ready for that.
We're ready for it. It's snowing right now at my house. How about you guys? Is anyone else snowing?
It was this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, big chunks of snow. So that is going to be amazing. So yeah, so Breck, you're going to be bringing a lot of local landscapes, your photography kind of views, and then the ocean. Those are your main series that you'll be bringing to Art and Soup?
Yes, I have an Oceanside series that has over 20 brand new paintings that haven't been shown anywhere except maybe Instagram. And then I have a lot of local kind of Utah landscapes as well.
Awesome. Oh, they're so great. And I've enjoyed watching. You've even done some fun ones recently with like different shapes, like almost like the half moon, the arched shape. Are you going to bring in some of those too?
I do have a few of those. Those came out of J. Kirk Richards' gallery, All Shapes and Sizes show.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got inspired and took off. So
yeah,
I'll be bringing any of those I have left.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. And where would you like people to go to get to know you better?
So my Instagram is updated quite regularly. It's breck.sjoblom.art. And then I also have a website, brecksjoblom.art, where you can purchase.
Awesome. That's so great. And like I said, I will be putting all of these links in the show notes. So definitely check them out so that you can get to know these artists a little bit more. So thank you, Breck, and congrats on Art and Soup. It's going to be a great show. Okay. Well, we are so happy to have Jenn Seeley with us. Jenn, it's so good to see you.
Hi. Okay. where to start? Well, I'm a mom of 2 little ones, but me and my husband work together to make sure that I get painting time. We do this full time, like we work together. He helps me. And I have mostly been focusing on animals for like the last 8 years. I love texture and color. Those are like my main focuses. And I love to use like palette knives and all kinds of unconventional tools. So behind me, you'll see like a really big wolf. So I'm going to have that kind of stuff at Art and Soup. And I can relate to a lot of you with wanting to experiment. I've always feel like I'm drawn to different things. So lately, landscapes have really been drawing my attention. It's a little hard to see, but these are aspen trees that are very textured, very 3D. I have another one handy.
Ooh, yeah, that's great.
And then watercolors or something. These are actually, I say watercolors because a lot of people recognize that rhetoric, but this is actually India ink. So it's very vibrant. And I do pet portraits for people. So I have a pretty big collection of dogs.
Wow. So great.
I even have a plant in here.
Aww.
I've been very into plants. Anyway, so I'm going to have a lot of originals at Art and Soup, mostly acrylic on canvas. I've got some really big animals and landscape type things. I went to Utah State and got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drawing and Painting. I also spent some time at Snow College and BYU Hawaii. So
wow.
Had a little bit of everything when it comes to education. But a lot of what I do is more self-taught. Like I draw on things that I learned in school, but I feel like what I'm doing now is not necessarily something that I was taught, and I'm sure a lot of artists can relate to that. And Instagram is like my main platform that I use, that people can find me on. Jenn is spelled with 2 N's. That throws a lot of people. But yeah, Jenn Seeley is my Instagram account. And I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing a quick draw at Art and Soup.
Good.
I saw that last year and was jealous of all the artists, like their painting. It looked fun. So yeah, I'll be participating in that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you're so brave to do that. I get nervous doing the quick draw. I have this terrible problem. Like I have a really hard time painting when I'm talking to people, and people are always like, I just want to come over and watch you. And then they start talking to me, and then I turn and I'm talking to them, and I can't do 2 things at once. It's so difficult. So I think it's great. I mean, you're jealous and now you're doing it. And I'm like so happy people are doing it. I don't like doing it. Okay. So what are you doing for your quick draw, Jenn? What are you doing for the quick draw?
I'm going to be doing a big piece, kind of like the one I have behind me. I'll hold it a little closer to the camera.
That's so awesome. And you're going big for the quick draw. That's amazing. That's so awesome.
It's hard to appreciate on the computer.
That's okay. It's just a reminder that art is meant to be enjoyed in person. So it's just one more reason for everyone to come to the show and to get to know each of you personally and to have your work in our homes. You know, it's awesome.
It definitely makes a difference to see things in person. And on this big type of work that I do a lot of like splashes and drips and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how I can do that live. So I know they're going to have to hold it up at the end. I'll figure it out.
Oh, wow. Well, it's all about the experience. And I'm sure if somebody gets paint on them, they'll just never wash it because they'll say this was done during the quick draw by Jenn. So very exciting. Well, Jenn, I will make sure and link to your Instagram. Is there anything else that you want to tell us? Like, I know you have a website. Is there anywhere else you want people to go?
I'll go ahead and mention my website. It's jennseeleyart.com.
Awesome.
So those are email is the best way to contact me.
Yes. And Jenn's even willing to come to a Home Depot parking lot to give you your art, which that's how come I have one of Jenn's awesome pieces. I think that's the last time I saw you was in the Home Depot park.
I think it was. But I look at your art every day. I'm so happy to have a piece from you.
Same. We love ours. So thank you so much for coming on. And Jenn, enjoy Art and Soup. Thank you for doing that. It's amazing. So yes.
Last year was my first year and it exceeded my expectations. So I'm excited to give it another shot and kind of know what I'm getting into and be able to plan a little bit better this year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's always an experience. You got to do shows at least you got to do it more than once so you know what you're doing, huh?
Agreed.
Absolutely. Well, that's exciting. Thanks so much for being here, Jenn.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So Rebecca is our final artist, and it's really special to have Rebecca with us because she has done Art and Soup quite a bit. And so I kind of put her on the spot and said, if you have any special Art and Soup memories, would love to hear, anything that you would like to share about them.
Okay. So actually my very first year of Art and Soup, I almost think that's where we met, Katrina.
Oh, wow.
And,
it may have
Katrina
been.
Was the most professional business person I'd ever met. As far as artists go, she had her booth was so decked out. And I honestly, this year feel like this is the year that I'm going to try to be Katrina Berg. And I worked so hard to just prepare so that I have all the things in place. So I'm really, really working hard, but I've learned a lot from you and I've really appreciated. And that experience, that first year at Art and Soup, I was so impressed with the people there, the company, the volunteers, everyone, just a really great spirit of service and caring. And I remember he's probably the CEO of CNS, coming around to help and make sure everyone got what they needed. And it was just such a great place to be. And I left feeling on a high for sure. Yeah. And I get really, really excited about it coming up. I've learned that the shows that I love the most are the ones where the artists are there because I want to talk to people. I want to interact, and it kind of get ripped off in a gallery where you don't meet the people that are looking at your art. So this is one of my very favorite things for sure. Super excited about it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And isn't it interesting how I didn't realize it was both of our first year at Art and Soup together. And I remember looking at your booth thinking the same thing, wow, I just love the way that she brought so many big pieces. And, I just remember it's interesting. You think that everyone's been doing it forever and everyone knows exactly what they're doing, but we're all just doing the best that we can, aren't we?
Right, for sure.
So, yeah. Well, you have such a unique style and process. And for those of you that are new to Rebecca's work, we'd love to have you share a little bit about, just whatever you want to share about your work.
Okay. So I do have a studio in my backyard. My process is very physical. And so when I built that studio, it was kind of a part of that physical process that I worked really hard to construct as much as possible anyway. So I use a lot of reclaimed materials. And so my work is informed by what I find and what's available to me. And I also, I do workshops where I take these same materials and let people kind of experience a little bit about what I do. So that's really fun. So I just wanted to mention this. It's called Opportunity Drawings, I think is how it's titled. That's something at Art and Soup. And so one of those is a workshop with me and your friends. So anyway, nice. That's something, if you come to Art and Soup, then sign up for that, and maybe you'll win that, and that would be fun. Of course, I love the workshops because that's another chance to be with people and meet people. Yeah. Another thing that I'm going to have at Art and Soup, and I hope you can see this because it's probably too shiny, but so it's a kit. So like you get to make this at home, right? You get to do what I do, play with scraps of material and glue them onto a board. So anyway, I have some of those that I'm going to be bringing, and I also have some just small pieces because I try to make something for everyone. So like little pieces that are, if you have just a little tiny shelf, and that's all you have room for. And then some bigger pieces, like, I don't know if you can see very well, but.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's upside down.
Oh, it's good both ways. It's good both ways.
Anyway, so lots and lots of all sizes. So it's going to be really fun. I even have these little tiny ones.
That's amazing. How many tiny pieces do you think are in your small one that you're showing us right now? Like 30 tiny pieces?
Oh, yeah. Lots of little scraps.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that's, gosh, no more than 3 by 4 or something. It's tiny.
Yeah, just a little tiny chunk. So, yeah, I love to chat with people about art. And in fact, I post a lot on Instagram. If you ever want to know what I've just made, go to Instagram, because to get it from Instagram to my website is a challenge for me. So if you want to know, go to Instagram. And so I'm just showing this piece because what I want to say about it is you probably can't tell what it is, but it's called Sweet Nothings. And I made it out of some scraps that were just like absolutely ridiculously poor, but you can see, like, I don't know if you can tell. So I took all this scrap of plywood, chopped it up, turned it on its side, and built this texture that I just really love. So it's kind of like saying like, I made this out of nothing, which is what makes me most happy.
Aww.
So yeah, come to Art and Soup. Also, if you can't come to Art and Soup, you can contact artists and they can sell to you at Art and Soup if you're not able to be there. So that's just a good thing to be aware of. They could send you the QR code for that.
Oh, is this a new thing?
So every artist will have a QR code on their booth. So like, yeah, you can send that out to people.
Oh, that's so great.
And you could show them like, what you've got there. So it's definitely possible.
Okay, that's amazing. So I will make sure and write that in the show notes too. So yeah, those of you that can't make it to Utah this year, please just go and find their QR code and enjoy that. That's going to be amazing. Rebecca, I'm so glad that you told me to mention that. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, each of you. This is so special. I was thinking about some other things that people had told me, over the years of participating. And just like Rebecca, I remember the first time going, just like being on this high, just like you said, about service and being together. And the other thing I kept hearing from people was that they would come every year with their sisters or their best friends or their family. They would come and it was like an annual thing that they did together. And so I think there's so many great memories and great ways to serve. Just like was already mentioned by Nancy, all the ticket sales go directly to the fund. A portion of all the artist sales go to the fund. I love, Rebecca, that you're doing the kits. I love that you're each just bringing so much more excuse me, to the show, and you're just bringing more of you. And I think that that's so special. So thank you again for each of you for sharing. And we're so grateful to CNS. We're grateful for this community. We're grateful just to be a part of your lives. And please take the time to go say hi to these artists if you get to go. I think that'll just make their day. You can tell them you saw them and you're excited to get to know their work a little bit more, and definitely take home lots of art. I promise in the winters of our lives, it will be the thing that helps bring those spring and summer moments back forward into your consciousness. So sending so much love from all of our artists, and just want to send a lot of love to each of you today from the CANDYcolored studio. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Katrina.
Thanks, Katrina. Okay.